I know it's hard to believe now that video games have been going for over 5 years. Hundreds of titles are available. Obviously I've played quite a few, last couple of decades. Going to be talking about some of my favourites. The first one is Driver 3 for the PlayStation 2. Got to be perfectly honest about Driver 3. Never used to play the story mode or the proper game, but there's a great mode called Survival Mode where you could be chased by the police, and it was awesome because they would just chase you like they were possessed or like Terminators. And no matter how fast you drove or where you went, like 4 or 5 police cars would be chasing you, and it would just get so intense after a bit. And no matter how much to practice, you could only ever last like a couple of minutes.
That's what she said!
And it was such a detailed game as well. If you played the replays back, you could see where the bullet holes were going in your car, and if you did a really good like U-turn, the police car would get stuck and get that frustrated, they would explode. It's pretty cool. Driver 3. Interesting fun fact, the pottery kiln behind me was in the Colin Baker episode of Doctor Who called Trial of the Time Lord, and bonus fact, I also met Colin Baker once. Let's get to the matter in hand and talk about Revenge of Shinobi for the Mega Drive and Sega Genesis. I nearly said Master System. Such a great game though, because it made you feel like a ninja, which pretty much every 80s kid's dream, right? And it was such a detailed, intricate game. The levels were crazy. There was ones where you're on a plane, you put a brain in a jar, and one of the bad guys actually threw his hair at you, which that's just this madness. But like saying how elaborate the game was, when it got really hectic, you could actually do this thing called ninja magic, where loads of ninjas would fly out everywhere and kill all the baddies on screen. But yeah, it don't get much better than Revenge of Shinobi. Just behind me there is Cookies Karaoke, one of the best places you could ever have for laserdiscs and laserdisc players, and it was also one of the very first places where I saw a DVD, War Games, if you're interested in which one it was. And this next game is a pretty rare game. It's called Hostages by Infogrames, and what I loved about it is I know what it says about me as a person, but you could control somebody using a sniper rifle. And because nowadays it's 10 a penny, you get it on every game like Grand Theft Auto and Fortnite. And just the ice on the cake, it reminded me of being Lewis Collins in the film Who Dares Wins. This next title I've got to thank for playing it as one of my sister's many boyfriends. It was a 3D death chase for the ZX Spectrum, and it was a great technical achievement for the time. We got a good depth of speed and perspective. You were going in front of trees like this. And even though you were on a motorbike, it actually felt like you were on this speeder bike chasing Return of the Jedi. Good old Luke Jedi. This game, bit of a forgotten classic, Supercars 2 for the Amiga. Really came into its own if you played it with a mate. It was like an overhead game, a bit like Super Sprint, funnily enough. And you could fire missiles forward and backwards, and you could drop mines as well. I think you could do all this from one button, but it was pretty cool. One of the best feelings ever in a computer game was if you dropped a mine under a bridge, it made a great clanking sound. And if your mate drove under the bridge and couldn't see the mine, they blew up. So it was like awesome. You could buy power-ups in the shop, and also like great parody names of Formula 1 drivers like Nigel Mainsail and Ayrton Senna. But let's go over to the comment lever. Just looking at the instructions for Rocky on the Sega Master System. The opponents go all the way up to Ivan Drago. Could double up as a Creed 2 game. It's got a first comment on screen. I'm sure people will be teasing me there. I didn't pick Universal Studios for the GameCube, but what are you going to do? Just one of those things. First comment is from Retro Danich. Is that the old Arcade Plus theme in the background of the comments too? Amazing game. Good spot on noticing that theme. Listen to that all day, probably should have it as a ringtone. Some amazing details on that game though. The players are, the animation of them doing these backflips and somersaults, and you have 3 players on the screen at the same time, and you see little spies in the background. So detailed it was. Let's go for comment 2.
I know I'm going to absolutely kick myself on some of the games I didn't pick, but when you've got systems ranging from the Dragon 32 to the PSP, you're going to miss a few games, aren't you? There's comments from Monda Cyan. If it weren't for Hulk the Slayer, Krull would be my favourite. Since you mentioned Krull, I literally put this tape on there on my favourite shelf. Can you believe this is my good shelf where all the stuff goes? Egomaniac, got a picture of myself on there. And blowing this for luck. So, another comment. Let's have a little dance. This is from Karsh Schmidtke. It says, "You're kidding, right? How stupid." Well, that comment, what's good about that is it could almost be on 80% of the videos, but there you go, and until next time, keep it locked.
Thanks for watching The Legends of Cherry Hill.
3,001 lucky subscribers. Feel sorry for those guys.